Okay, so it's important to understand all the nuance of the skull because a lot of a lot of apex that protrudes out from the faces, and those are actually because of skull that's underneath the cheekbone, the zygomatic arch, the jawbone, the nose, the eye socket. So it's important to able to know what's going on with this, the skin, and that will help you to, later on, and also help you to invent heads out of your head, and you can also to help you understand, the reason for certain shadows, and because certain structures, and and because because of the skull. So first thing, we're looking at the front view of the skull, and you can see it's a wider on the top, and it's more angular taper on the bottom. Okay, well, that can be changed by person to person. It can be reversed, but normally we have more wider cranium because you have the brain, the big brain that fits inside the cranium. Overall, the skull is a wider, almost looks like wider on the top, and has this shape to it. Okay. Same as if we draw the actual heads. The next thing we have is, the the eye lines, like I mentioned in the structure lessons, it's about in the middle of the head, and we have this the socket, the orbit of the eyes that kind of running on each side, and you can see they are actually a tilted box. It's not a perfect square like this. It's actually it's slightly tilted square, and I usually think about the like the aviators sunglasses shape like this. And that's important to know this tilt because that is gonna happen to hit on a lot of important landmarks that we need. The corner of cheekbones, and also the placement of eyeball gonna happen on that degrees right here. Okay, and we have above the eye socket we have our temple line that kind of goes around the cranium like this. So draw through. The cranium gonna hit about at the bottom of our nozzle, the nose, and it's gonna sit right here. Okay, and then this temple line is gonna continue and merge into the cheekbones. Here, the bone's gonna get firm. Here is just a soft edge that's running through the temple like this. You can see it's a faded into our side of the cranium. But when you get to beside eye socket, again, because they have to protect the eyeball, you can see the bone, the bone protrudes out, and then you get the firm edge, and then it's come down to me the zygomatic arch, our cheekbone, and almost the whole section here looks like a gargoyle, and and so this coming down, coming to the side, this becomes the front line, and it go extend all the way down to where the bottom of the eye socket. So the other words means the bottom eye socket actually lines out to the top of the cheekbones. So here's the bottom eye socket lines to our top of the cheekbone. So right here it's gonna hug around our craniums like this. Okay, and then you can also see from the image the bottom of the cheekbones lines up pretty close to the bottom of our nose. So here's the bottom of our nozzle, okay, our nose. And the bottom of the cheekbone lines up pretty close to the bottom of the cheekbone, okay? And we know the cheekbone sits in the front plane, also the side plane. You got the front of the side plane and side plane. When there are two plane meets, they must have a corner. And we always want to know corner, as a, to know where the, the planes meets, and also the corner help us to know where the highlight is and where the core shadow begins. So we have to find where that corner is. So we have to know where that corner is. And that's why earlier I say when you draw the eye socket, make sure it has an axis to it, because that axis is going to help you to find that corners. So if we take this upper inner corner and connect to the outer lower corners right here, and where it touch that line on the base of the nose, that's going to be where the corner of the cheekbones. Like that. You see how it hugs around the craniums? What happened back here, again, that twisting strip of paper idea I like to use, and I did that underneath the eyebrow, is going to happen here too. So you're going to see you're doing this. Again, this is my corner of my cheekbone. So, like I said earlier, the whole thing looks like a gargoyle that we're in over. So if you imagine, here's your round craniums. You get this wearing over the craniums. Grabbing onto the side of your head, which your ear gonna basically sits right behind the cheekbones. We talk about this also in the structure lessons. Everything below the eyes, all the features, gonna protrude out. So if you notice those dirt bike helmet, you got the gargle part, and then you see how the part that preventing the dust is gonna protrude out, cover the nose and the mouth. So everything gonna protrude out. Or think about the gas mask protrudes out. Like this. So here, eyes, is the nose, is the mouth. So again, I'm gonna refine this craniums a little bit. All this is front plane, and this is a side plane. And you can also see from the reference, it gets really quite dark. Because again, this part is kind of hollow, kind of digs in, and allowed what the temporalis muscle that fits right in here. The temporalis muscle is it's a I call it shut up muscle. Basically, you keep your mouth closed, and you crunch your teeth. You can see the side of the forehead moves. Um, so it kind of sits right in here and goes behind. What he does, he goes behind the zygomatic arch and grab onto the jawbone right here, the front end of it. So keep your mouth closed. Okay, so the eyeball gonna fill in pretty much the whole eye socket, and everything else just muscle and kind of wrap around the eyeball. Let me use a different charcoal so you can see. So yeah, it kind of pretty much fills in all the whole eye socket. If we bring that line down, and that's gonna give us the whole muzzle. That muzzle protrudes out like this, so you can feel the volume of it. Okay, but by now you probably know I'm not really a favor of an egg shape because there's no structures and feel like it's gonna roll off my pages. So what I need to do, I'm gonna take the lower part of the cheekbone. I'm gonna fuse into my muzzle. I'm gonna do it right about where that line is. That line coming down from the center of the eyes. And when that happened, that also beside connect my cheek to my mouth, and also it helped to divide a front to the side of the mouth for me. So everything here is the front, and everything here is the side. So what you get a nice, beautiful rhythm, a beautiful rhythm that kind of goes out like this. So is this temple line right here, too. So is the jaw. So there's always these kind of a patterns you can find, from an organic object, and that's what's the beauty about it. And it keep kind of echoing and keep everything in a kind of harmonized. I mean, darken this. The nozzle also has a side the side plane, and it goes merged into the socket like this. And then this part is going to get darker slightly because that's the keystone. And then we also in the last lesson we talked about there's a visor goes around it like this that create this kind of dome shape. So I still want to make sure I bring this out. Okay. And then here's let's put some teeth in there. So I'm gonna basically just very quickly just indicate the teeth, and all I need to do is make sure it's play with some perspective trick. The teeth that goes away from us and just gradually get smaller and start facing more towards this, towards the side. And you can see when cheek fuse into the muzzle, I got a little bit of this triangle shadows underneath it like this. The jaw you can think of as a kind of a separate units that connect up to the craniums on top, and it's obviously it's a narrower. So you got you got the wider cranium, and you got more narrower jaw. That's shooting forward. Like this. You got a little shadow in between the muzzle and the jaw right here. Because it's the cheek is wider, the jaw is narrower, so you're probably gonna have some cat shadows. That sits right below it. Okay, so you can see that's it's a front view structures and proportion of the skull. And keep in mind some of the key points, especially what I was mentioning, the alignment of a cheekbone. That going to plays a very, very important part. Again, I'm going to review the alignment again. This is the bottom of the eye socket lines out to the top of the cheekbone. The bottom of the nose lines out to the bottom of the cheekbone. Only difference is when that bottom cheekbone turns to the side, which we're going to look at the side view next, it's actually is gonna rise up. It's gonna angles up, and then it's gonna stop right in front of the ear. So again, here is you can see this. Here is the corner, right? You see how far it comes out. Again, also about 45 degree. Look, I want to make sure. Look at this relationship, the whole relationship from here all the way out here. Okay, to give you where that that cheekbones also when we apply the eyelid, the lower eyelid sits on the face, right? So on the apex of the lower eyelid is also gonna it's gonna sit somewhere along this line.